Hey everyone, Lawrence here from Langflay Dunes in a little town called Wilderness, magical spot in sunny South Africa, close to the city of George in Western Cape. I'm going to do a walkthrough of my property and just show you guys what we've managed to do here. While I'm walking through and describing our setup, I'll kind of ask some questions out aloud. We've had the support of a lovely lady called Alex, permaculture expert, and also an expert in syntropic forestry. She unfortunately moved away from us about a year ago, and one of her colleagues, Mzu, has taken over, and he's also given us some amazing support. We bought this property 3 years ago, around about 3 years ago. We got the initial setup in place, and then we had to leave things to stand while our building was done. So there was some management, but not a lot, kind of for just under a 2-year period. And then we've basically taken the reins again for the last year to year and a half, and Chantal and I have just recently moved onto the property, so we've only been on the property permanently for the last 9 months. And we're kind of figuring out just what it means to engage with the systems, work out what the rhythm is, what the routines are. We both are permanently employed, so I'm a full-time worker, so we're not engaging with the system as often as we'd like to, but we are we're getting involved. We kind of feel like we're a part of the system, and part of this video is to get advice and input, and so that we can learn. So as the name of the area suggests, Langflay Dunes. Basically, our property is a little 1.7 hectares freehold on an old ancient dune. So we're about just under 5 k's as the crow flies away from the beach, and we're pretty much on beach sand. I think it's not as bad as sand directly on the beach, but it's not far from it. It is an ancient dune, and there is dune type vegetation around, so the environment, I think, has got a little bit more stability than just a bare dune of sand, but not much more. The pioneer plants are bitu, and there's lots of fynbos, and lots of aloe type plants. One thing to bear in mind is I'm far from an expert, so I'm not going to name plants correctly. I'm probably going to misname them, use their common name, and all of that sort of stuff. As you can hear, there's a plane going on overhead. So we're in this beautiful spot, which is in the middle of nature, but actually we're just 10 minutes away from modern civilization. Just showing you our beautiful entrance sign, which is among a little aloe garden. My wife spent many a month creating the sign, and after eventually finishing it, you can tell her that she is a perfectionist. After eventually finishing it, she has now sworn off doing any mosaic work. So that was her one and only masterpiece. Okay, I'm going to walk down my driveway into my property. I'm going to pause the video here, and I'll then start to talk you through the 3 orchards that we've currently got set up. There's an orchard basically east, south and west of our property, which kind of envelop our house, which is a north facing house. And yeah, we'll take it from there. Okay, so I'm standing on the outside of our eastern orchard. You can't really see much detail because it's kind of surrounded protectively by a row of batu, which we've allowed to grow as a hedge around the orchard so that it serves as a windbreak. We do get quite a hot and dry wind through here occasionally. As I said, these orchards were set up probably 3.5 years ago, and then left to their own devices for 1.5 to 2 years, and we just have only had direct and consistent management in the last year. When we set them up, because this whole system is on a sand dune, we dug trenches along contour, and we buried logs. We put in some biochar and some other vegetation, and then we replanted the tree lines on top of that. So that was kind of our general setup for the system. Is in order to give the system a chance of transforming into a productive system, we needed to put in a lot of effort up front. The whole idea is that we're trying to limit the intervention and management to just working with the vegetation, with the animals, with the insects inside the system. Whatever amendments we use are as natural as possible. We do not want the system to be reliant on us continually intervening. And because that's the approach, we did a lot of effort up front, and we've got to be patient with the results. Things do not grow perfectly. You can see yellow in the leaves. Things grow slowly, and we've just had to nurture the system into a state of fertility and abundance. And there's definitely signs of abundance, but we're on the journey. What we've done more recently in the last probably 8 months in this orchard is we have filled the pathways with more logs. So beforehand, this was kind of between the pathways, there was just sand. I mean, there was covered in wood chip, but this whole area is basically buried logs. You can see the soil profile is very different, but I mean, I'm already hitting wood here, so we kind of fill the pathways with logs and sticks and kind of then chip on top, just so that it would retain water and just help this whole system develop the soil. Around the outside of the system, it's recently been pruned, but we've got lavender, rosemary, kind of the same batu, which is the fast growing pioneer bush in this area, and then a couple of other plants in between. This is either a cheesewood or a milkwood. As I said earlier, I'm not an expert. And one of the things about living in our area along Flat Dunes is it is a protected coastal area, so there's a whole lot of rules and regulations we need to adhere to, which I respect. It can be frustrating to operate in an environment with those type of constraints in place, but It's all part, of the efforts to develop a ecosystem that respects its origin. So cheesewoods, milkwoods, and a couple of other trees and vegetation are protected. So when one of these little babies pops up, I'll allow it to grow to around about this size, and then I'll have to dig it out, bag it, and then replant it where it's more suitable from our point of view. And there's lots of space in this property. So yeah, so that's just a little point of reference to the context that we're operating in. This orchard on the eastern side of our property is a mix of citrus, macadamia. There's bananas throughout, all our orchards. They're more here for as support, but we all know that bananas do produce fruit as well, and we love our bananas, our smoothies. There are further down the orchard, you'll see I do have mango, I do have pecan, and I do have avo, so one of each of those. Because these orchards were set up and left without a lot of management for an extended period, the framework that was put in place did have some failures which weren't reacted to. The main tree support species were cureworms. So these little babies here, beautiful trees that grow well here. And throughout the system, you'll see there's some spaces where the cureworm did not survive. And the vegetation in that line then got more exposure than it should have, and it didn't grow as well. The other tree that we're looking to kind of develop a canopy is the water pear. There's probably a name for it which knowledgeable people would know, but it's a lot more valuable wood. So it's a hardwood, grows a lot slower than the cureworm, so we do want it to kind of thrive as well. So we'll need to prune the cureworm back and allow the water pear to share the canopy. The macadamia will become the emergent canopy, because macadamias do grow very big. So either high or emergent. We still need to make that decision. And I think one of the first things I need to consider, and where people can give their input on, and it's the things I'll work with Mzu and Alex on, is just the management strategy for the canopy. How tall am I going to allow the cureworm to grow before I chop it? The idea is to pollard it. So at what height will I pollard the cureworm? How long it will remain in the system? Will it be totally replaced by the water pear, or will it remain and cohabitate with the water pear? How long before the macadamia replaces it, or does the macadamia stay below the canopy of the cureworm? Those are kind of the things that I'm trying to figure out. As you can see, this mac has got a lot of yellow in the leaves, so it's not in the healthiest position, and that was mainly because it was very exposed at the end of the line here. It didn't get protection from the slow growing water pear. It actually has bounced back. If you looked at this tree a year ago, we were actually asking ourselves the question whether it needed to be replaced. And some of the newer leaves that came out are actually starting to look a lot greener. So I believe this tree is pushing through. I think it will carry on developing. So, but we will see. So I suppose let's do our first little soil test here, just to give you guys a idea of what we've been able to create. So this is our soil profile at the moment. See lots of things growing in there. It's lots of moisture in there, even though it's sandy, so water goes through our soil very quickly here. So yeah, I mean, we can see the magic happening. It's an amazing process to be involved in. Okay, a lot of context. I'll start to walk through my lines. Lemongrass, Vic's plant, beautiful plant that I don't know the name of. The tamarillo, we absolutely love tamarillo, the fruit, the tree tomato. We'd never had it before until we moved onto our property, and the only tamarillos we've eaten are off our trees. Unfortunately, the first lot of tamarillo that we planted throughout our orchard didn't survive. It kind of grew a little bit, it produced fruit, and then it died. So this is the second generation that we planted. This was planted about 4 months ago. It is also struggling. I'm hoping that the environment has got more stable, since the initial generation died out, and we'll have to just monitor it and see if we're going to be able to grow tamarillo in our system. If it fails again in the eastern orchard, we may well try in one of the other orchards. Citrus, lots of citrus in this orchard. I unfortunately don't know what the different citrus are, because I wasn't here when they were planted, and the labels are all off. I do know there's a mix of lemon and lime, grapefruit, clementine. So yeah, it'll be one of the surprises. Almost like waiting to see the gender of your child when it comes out. Maybe not quite as exciting as that, but anyway, we'll wait and see what fruit comes off these babies. One of the interesting things that we were able to observe the last 6 months is just how the ecosystem is developing, under our care. Everything we're operating to, we're not using pesticides, obviously, and it's amazing to work with the critters in the system. So the ants, being ants, started to farm aphids on the citrus leaves, and I think you can actually see some evidence of it here. Not a lot. There we go. There is. Anyway, I'm not doing very good with the camera here, but they farm the aphids, and within a couple of days the ladybugs are there to do their bit to allow the ecosystem to come back to some form of homeostasis. So it's amazing to see that. I'm sure there'll be some points of failure where the system doesn't magically correct itself, but at the moment, other than a little bit of yellow on the leaves, we've been very lucky where we're able to not have to intervene. This macadamia over here is a lot healthier, kind of in the middle of the line, protected on all sides, so it's a lot greener. It's loving the companionship it's getting from Kierbon and a banana. So yeah, it's loving it. No advertising being paid to McDonald's with that statement. Pepino melons are really doing well in our environment, and we love eating them, love putting them into slushies. Another tamarillo, this one's doing a lot better, kind of doing a lot better in the middle of the tree line. Now the citrus, once again you can see some yellow there. We've got to bite our tongue, not run off, grab a whole lot of chemicals and throw it at the tree. We've got to just be patient. And you know, the new growth coming out is, it's lighter than ideal, but well, this is a happy tree from my point of view. And then the macadamia at the end of the line. Between our tree lines we've got 1 or 2 rows of biomass production. So this is the next tree line here, but if I look back, we've got some sugarcane and grass. We've got some corn, you know, a little bit of strawberries between there. That was not part of the plan, but sometimes nature tells you what it wants to grow there. Some basil, which we love. So yeah, we've got 2 lines of biomass, and then we've got the next tree line. Pretty similar setup to the first one. So we've got Max. This one, once again, the Keurboom that was meant to be protecting it on the edge here just never made it, so a lot more exposure on the Mac, but it's surviving, it's pushing through. I'm sure it will thrive. We've got you know, bananas. We've got the citrus over here, it's just loving it, right next to the Keurboom, so it's very happy in the middle of the tree line. Another Tamarillo, more pepinos. So yeah, it's amazing to see how, you know, the difference between the health of the trees kind of in the middle of the tree line, you know, where we've kind of built the ecosystem for it to thrive in, versus on the end. You can even see the citrus on the end really struggling, yellow leaves. This one here as well, yeah, 12 months ago was looking a lot less healthy than it is now. So at face value this might look like a tree that is struggling, but it actually is bouncing back. One thing you will notice is we do have drip irrigation throughout the orchards. Just the environment that we operate in, you know, once again transforming a dune into a productive orchard. We need to give our system every advantage it can without, as I say, drawing the line at you know, harsh chemical intervention. So we are giving our plants a little bit of water, and I think the expectation is that this system will become more and more stable and self-sufficient, you know, as the years go by. Bit to lavender, rosemary along the line. It's recently been pruned back just because we were struggling to walk down the pathways. So a little bit of pruning outside of, you know, the full system reset. I know it's strictly speaking not ideal, but you also need to work with the context you have. So one of the things that you know, once again with the environment being left to kind of look after itself for an extended period, there were a number of our trees that were really struggling. What we did with this baby here, which was really, this macadamia was out for the count, is it was cut right back and then allowed to regrow. We've done that with a couple of the trees. You'll see it as I go down. Mango, avos, and yeah, just bouncing back in an environment that had a little bit more time to stabilize and kind of generate nutrients. You know, the second bounce, it's looking very healthy. So we've lost kind of 2 years of growth on the tree. You know, the question is, would it have been better just to plant a new tree here? My sense is that this tree would have adapted to the environment, and I have a feeling that this tree will thrive. I think it'll catch up to the other ones. Yeah. Another little success story on the fence here. When we first set the system up all the way along the fence line, well, not all the way along the fence line, but along major stretches of fence line, we had planted grapes and granadilla, and basically none of them survived. And then when we moved here 9 months ago, I think in celebration, this granadilla just decided to start growing, and now 9 months later we've got fruit. So an experiment that initially looked like it was going to fail has come back and surprised us, and we will take cuttings or seeds or whatever is the best way of spreading this granadilla, and we'll plant it at different sections of the line and see if it will also produce there. Another 2 lines of biomass, sugarcane, cowpeas, fennel. And this fennel is just self-planted itself. We had actually had massive fennel here, and we harvested it, and then and these fennels just came up by themselves. Okay, this is the first line where it's a little bit of a different setup. These lines get a little bit shorter. The star of the show here is our mango. As you can see, it was cut back. So this mango was on its way out. It was pretty much dead, and we cut it back. And yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just looking beautiful. It's got some new growth coming through. It does have a fruit over there, which I know ideally we probably should take off it, but you know, we're looking to experience some magic from our system, and you know, it's not always about delivering the perfect performance. You know, it's not the destination, it's the journey, and we're looking forward to getting our first mango off the system. So there it is. We've actually got some on another mango tree, which I'll show you in another orchard. But yeah, so this line here has got the mango, very similar setup of support species, Pinot, magical tree whose name I don't know, another citrus. And once again, you can see there's some yellow, and this is the damage from the aphids. But look at that new growth, you know, green. So this is a happy tree. Yeah. Another 2 lines. This line here is a little empty. Got some onions coming up, gooseberry. This is a Keurboom that we've replanted. Citrus. And the star of the show on this line is a pecan. Now this is a replant. So the pecan that was here totally died out. This pecan was planted about 4 months ago. You can see that there was some kind of shock and it was struggling, but it has it's stable, and I can see some growth, signs of growth on the on the branch, on the trunk. So I'm quietly optimistic that it will survive. Once again, you can see, and I know it's because this is a very short tree line. You can see with this tree line where there's a lot more exposure, the citrus is more stunted just from the exposure to the sun, not having as much production, a lot more yellow in the leaves, but it's surviving. And I think once we get the cureworms in and a little bit more kind of growth and life in the soil, it will hopefully it will bounce. It's a bay leaf tree that we've recently planted about a year ago. It's looking very healthy. Lemongrass, another 2 lines. Okay, so this final kind of biomass veg planting line is totally empty, which is far from ideal, but it's signs of just us trying to get into the rhythm and the routine, and also having just so much to do moving into a new property. So we did have some tomatoes here kind of 6 months, well, about 3 months ago, but once they died back, we didn't plant anything. So we'll get it sorted out, and the soil's covered, so I'm sure stuff is still happening down below the chip. And then the final line with citrus on the end here, once again very exposed. We've got the new cureworm planted, which will kind of be the protector. And the star of the show is our little avo tree. Also, it's a replant. It is struggling a little bit, so we'll have to just monitor it. But the thing that I'm very hopeful of is that there's lots of sign of kind of growth starting to pop up along the stems. So I am really, really hoping that it'll survive and thrive. We don't want things just to survive. Throughout the system, I don't know if anybody noticed the yellowwoods that we've planted, our legacy that we'll leave behind for future generations. I think there's at least 10 yellowwoods planted, probably closer to 20 yellowwoods planted throughout our 3 orchards. There's another one there. So yeah, that will be the legacy. Hopefully we'll see, we'll be around in 20-30 years time, and we'll be able to see something of substance, but they'll carry on growing, hopefully, anyway. So in summary, I think the main questions that we're asking is how do we manage the cureworms? What height are we going to allow them to grow to before we pollard them? There's definitely lots of open strata that we need to fill as well. So we need to find plants that, whether they be chop and drop, support plants, or whether they be production plants that are just a different layer. Those are the questions. The other thing I didn't mention is, you may have noticed, one of the other trees that we'd originally put into the system to supplement the cureworms is Passaddhi, but we've been advised that they are very invasive, and also that they may be a little aggressive with their water needs. So the idea is to take them out of the system slowly, but we do need to get a little bit of height on cureworms before we prune and chop them out of the system. The other item that we've considered is maybe getting hemp into, whether it be the biomass lines or actually into the tree lines as fast growing biomass production, and also hemp seeds being of high nutritional value. So that's one of the other thoughts that we've had. But yeah, we would appreciate any input or any advice that you could give, or any comments about the system. Hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll be doing a second video about my southern and eastern orchards. Thanks a lot. We'll see you soon. Cheers.